Good morning. It's Ginny and Tim.
Hello.
We're talking zero trust today.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's without fear.
Yeah, there you go.
Without fear. I forgot that part because, it makes me think trust no one.
Yeah.
Right?
It sounds scary and all that stuff, but yeah, anyway.
But there's a point to it.
Yes.
So if you have any questions, drop them below this video. I'd be happy to respond, and check our website out for your free security assessment. And let's talk about this, and I'll tell you more at the end.
Yeah. So zero trust. Today we're going to dive into something that sounds harsh, even a little cynical. Zero trust, right? Trust no one. We say this all the time, and it's not meant to just be like scary and everything, but there's a practical point to this. So before you picture some dystopian future where nobody trusts anyone and every login feels like a police checkpoint, just take a breath, because zero trust isn't about paranoia. It is about protection at the end of the day, and it doesn't have to be as intrusive as that scenario. So the biggest idea to kind of explain the difference here is the difference between opting in versus opting out. So you may not have heard of that before, but we'll kind of get into the analogy here as most businesses in cybersecurity do an opt-out system, which means that the digital door is open to pretty much anything by default, and that once we see something that looks suspicious, we will then deny that. So, weird file, we'll remove that with antivirus. This weird, we kind of go through the connected devices and we remove things that look suspicious. So you're kind of reacting to stuff as it happens, and you kind of have more of an open door, so things just run without too many steps blocking your employees. The problem is that hackers and attackers are getting better at using, they call it living off the land technique. So they're using legitimate tools that can be used by people like us to try to help you with your systems, but they can use them for bad purposes. And so it's the idea of just blocking it when it looks suspicious isn't as good as it used to be, because lots of things are legitimate that could potentially be looking like they're suspicious. So zero trust is the inverse, or the opposite of that, where it's not an opt-in model, but by default, nothing gets in, and then we have a list that we're adding things to. So picture like a bouncer at a club. I think they actually use that one here, where, it's like a nightclub where you have a strict guest list. You don't just walk in because you look friendly. You have to show your ID, maybe get checked in again if you leave and come back. It's not about distrust. It's about keeping everyone safe that's inside. So instead of that list where you're getting your ID checked, that could be like logging into your email and you have MFA. It could be like logging into your cloud system. Now you have to log in again. There could be various checkpoints. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. So the simple definition is just never automatically trust anything inside or outside of your network. Every user, device, application must prove who they are every time they want access. Sometimes your tokens will expire in like 2 hours, and it's frustrating because you're on a website and you're like doing work, and all of a sudden you have to like re-log into the website again. You're like, what is going on? I was just on this website. I just went to the bathroom and came back. Now I got to do it again. It's just, It can feel like it's frustrating and cumbersome sometimes, but it's just for the session token theft is the thing where they steal your session tokens and can log in and all this stuff. And it's all typically meant for a reason for security. As much as people like to make fun of us security people, it's like, we're not just making your lives harder for fun to laugh at you. It's because we want to protect you and take care of your systems. And unfortunately, it may feel like when we start doing MFA and these extra layers, you're like, I can't even get my job done anymore.
It takes me 10 minutes to log into everything.
Yeah, but that 10 minutes to log in is better than having days off or potentially getting laid off, or your business going bankrupt due to ransomware. So it's like the risk and the reward is kind of what you have to juggle there. So again, every user device must prove who they are every time they want access, comparing to the old model where once you get inside the company network, you have the keys to the whole building. It's like once you got through the door, it's like you can wander wherever you wanted. And that may have worked fine 15 years ago, but when your office was a single building and every employee was in the same network. But today, unfortunately, we got remote staff, we have cloud apps, there's phones, there's tablets, even smart thermostats connecting to Wi-Fi. Maybe you got a smart fish tank in your office. I don't know, but you have so many different devices that are all connecting everywhere that we really need to kind of create that trust and lock the environment down better. So that zero trust just says, just because you're in the building doesn't mean that you should be able to open every door. So this mindset kind of contains damage before it spreads. So once one account is hacked, they just can't jump from email file server to finance systems. The attack dies in isolation, or maybe that user's email gets compromised, but we were able to detect it and shut it down before it was able to start spreading to others, or the endpoint that person is on is starting to do something malicious. And so the EDR system automatically already contained it from the network and said that you can't communicate anymore until we say you're safe, and so we can scan it and verify the activity with the user.
So then it's just the one computer that's down.
Exactly. You got one computer down instead of potentially the whole network, or worst case, it gets to the server and all the whole business comes to a halt until we can do a restore or something like that. So again, why it matters even more is that cyber attacks today aren't just brute force, they're social, they're stealthy, and they kind of move faster now too, where once they get in your network, they can do a whole bunch real quicker. And so take ransomware, for example. All it takes is one wrong click, one user opening the wrong attachment, and if your network is flat, meaning that everything can connect to everything, the infection spreads within minutes to everything. So with zero trust in place, the same ransomware would hit a wall at every boundary. It can't get into the HR system from accounting. It can't access your cloud data without a new set of credentials. And then it can't talk to the backup because it's not on the approved backup list. The backups are, locked down to just being that service. So zero trust doesn't just eliminate the risk, but it limits the blast radius. So it's like having fire doors in a building. A single spark won't burn down the whole structure. There's basically lots of stop gaps in place, which is the biggest thing for that. So how can you start today? If you're like, we got one basic network, we have just, one firewall, there's 20 employees, and we all just are on the same thing, sharing printers, everything in there. Here's 6 practical steps that your small business can take. Maybe you're doing some of these, and that's great. But if you did all of them, it would be the best thing for you. And you can always take steps to slowly improve. Even if you're not getting all 6 of them down right now, start with 1 or 2 and chisel away at it. So the first one is limiting your admin rights. So it's so common that not everyone, even they want to be able to install stuff when they want. So the idea is, oh, there's a new software I want to install or update, it'll help my life better, and then they go to install it. But the problem, if that user can install anything, if anyone ever gets a hold of that user's credentials and they logged in as that person, they can now install anything, including malicious tools, bad files, all that kind of stuff. So you should have at least one administrator account that gets typed in as needed. So say you were to type in, I want to install the latest version of Google Chrome because I like it more than Edge or whatever, and you try to install it, it's going to come up with a screen on the computer that says, type in your administrator password to continue. Jenny would then have to hopefully go to the administrator or DS Tech or whoever their IT is and have them type it in as needed. And then that account is separated from everything with a super strong password. So that way that one's not getting compromised. And then if Jenny were to get compromised, it's not going to be able to install a bunch of stuff because it'll get stuck with that install screen. There's solutions we have that will allow your regular users to install stuff as admin. Like we'll get a little prompt message saying, hey, you're trying to install something. Do you want to approve it? And we can look at it and say, oh, yep, that's legitimate update. We'll approve it. And then it goes sent to the system and then they can do the update. So there's systems in place that once we remove the ability of installing anything, we can still make their lives easier by layering software on top of that to make it a little bit better and more seamless. Using multi-factor authentication. Now, we've probably done 40 episodes on MFA already. If you don't know what multi-factor authentication is, just real quickly, it's when you log in that you have another code or a rotating set of codes that you have to type in on top of your username and password to log in. So the idea is if an attacker were to get your email and password combination without your physical phone in front of you with the code or the secondary layer of factor, they cannot get in, whether it's a little key or access badge or whatever setup you have.
So like mine is fingerprint, code, fingerprint.
Yeah, sometimes you got to get the fingerprint just to get to the code, type in the code, then it verifies your fingerprint again. Exactly. That's why the idea of 2-factor is becoming called multi-factor because it's not just 2 anymore. There's usually multiple steps to go through, which is great for security. So segmenting your network. And so what that means is that your security cameras don't need access to payroll. Your receptionist PC doesn't need to talk to the accounting database. What network segmentation does is keep threats contained. So just picture a track field where you have 6 different lanes and each lane is a different type of data, whether it's your surveillance cameras, your accounting data, your HR, your primary data, your basic user. They're separated with walls in between them. So if they try to cross from one lane to the other, we will either get an alert or it will be just denied outright and won't be allowed depending on how we set that up. And again, that will just limit the blast radius. If any one of those components gets hit, it will not spread to all the other data sources you have. Keeping devices updated. So again, those remind me later updates, they're often closing real security holes, make patching a routine not optional. And that's something that we do as your MSP. We'll do all your firewall patches. We're automating your operating system patches, third-party patching. We're really getting into now with our vulnerability management solution. So if you're one of our VIPs or top tier, we're doing a ton of that automatically for you. And if you wanted to start getting on the heavy patching list, just reach out. Otherwise, we do a great job of your basic systems. All firewalls are always updated, a regular thing, because that's the biggest point in. So just keeping them updated, don't ignoring them, especially if you're about to go on vacation or a holiday. Patch everything before that extended break, so that way you're going into the weekend knowing that you're safe and you have the latest and greatest security. Monitor and log everything. So again, you can't protect what you're not watching. So again, with your MSP, we have solutions in place that we're taking like firewall data, we're taking the computer data, your email alerts. If you're a customer of ours, you're already used to getting all the alerts. You know, Jane Doe is traveling too fast because she used her VPN on and then logged into email, so it looks like she traveled. Or someone's in the UK and they have a US only based restriction in, so we have to make an exception while they're traveling for a short little bit. Whether your firewall log, someone's trying to brute force into your firewall log or it goes down, we can reach out to you before you even know you're having an issue and try to get ahead of anything before it's happening. As well as it's really great after an event happens, we can go back in time and look through all the logs and kind of find the root cause of when exactly did they get in, what happened here, and try to prevent it from happening again in the future if something truly did get past everything. And then the last thing, it says partner with a security-focused MSP or IT team. Well, that's us. So obviously, if you're not a partner with us, please reach out. We can definitely take an assessment and look at that. Otherwise, if you're an existing client of ours, reach out. Whether you want to do some tabletop exercises, level up your game, add some extra things like the zero trust, or remove all the local admins. We have all these different software solutions, and you may be using a few of them, and start layering on one at a time. And before you know it, you're going to have a full stack of security, and you're going to have be really great. So here's a real world example at the end to kind of tie it in here. So imagine the scenario, you're running a 20-person accounting firm. One employee's laptop gets infected because they clicked a fake IRS email. If you didn't have zero trust in place or proper network segmentation, all the things I just talked about, that malware starts encrypting shared drives and client data, and within minutes, you can be locked out of everything. Because not only did it infect that the desktop or the laptop, it now is affecting the server, which the server affects everyone else from working as well. So
and now they have all your clients' data.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. Hopefully there's another stopgap on the exfiltration piece, so even if they get in, they can't leave, but yeah, exactly. And so with zero trust principles in place, the infected device can't connect to sensitive data. So if you had one of our advanced solutions on and it truly looked like it was truly ransomware, there's a thing where it goes to device isolation, where it will automatically just stop that device from connecting to other devices. Well, we basically verify, is this true or real or not, and then hit the button to say, yep, you can talk to the other devices again. Access to shared drives is blocked automatically, and the security system flags the anomaly and isolates the device. The business keeps running while you can clean up, and that is your resilience. And so in closing, zero trust isn't just about distrusting your people, it's about protecting them. It's the cybersecurity version of seatbelts and airbags, invisible safeguards that let you just kind of operate confidently and not fearfully. And it is achievable even for small teams. Maybe as a small business of a 20-person accounting firm, you don't have the budget to pay for 5 IT people, one a backup expert, a security expert, to help everyone. But by partnering with an MSP, you now have an entire team of 20, 30 experts who are all experts in their own field, and that brain trust comes together, and then you get all those resources for one price. So it's really the best way forward. And if you're ready to understand where your business stands today, you can start with a cybersecurity review. You can find out what's open, vulnerable. We can close the gaps. We can do an assessment of what are you using, what else can we offer you, and does any of this sound like it's something you still want to go forward with? And you can always level up your security. Even us internally at DS Tech, we're always looking for the latest and greatest in security, testing things on ourselves first before we bring it to your clients. That way we know about it before we bring it to you, and we vetted it already before we're selling it to you. So I guess if you do have any questions, always reach out. We're always willing to chat and talk about security. At least I am. I love security.
And your free security assessment is available on our website at dstech.net. So, and if you want that checklist or that list of things that you can do to get started on zero trust, let me know, or just look for the blog post.
Yeah.
If you need it, just send me a note. I'll send it to you. Okay. So make it a great day. We'll see you next time. Pain in the butt.